Alright, welcome into the final loadout race highlights here on youtube.com/gamer h_0st, or is it just gamer host 0st? I don't know if there's an underscore on my YouTube, but I should probably know my YouTube handle. Regardless, we've got a loadout race. We've got, in my opinion, the best Rex loadout. And we've got 4 racers all fighting for something, right? If you notice, there's a little number next to each racer's name. That number depicts their current position in the standings leaderboard. Positions 1 and 2, that would be Goji down at the bottom left at position number 2. They get not only a bye week in the tournament, assuming they sign up, but they also get a second bye week. 2 bye weeks, right? They just get to hop right into the semifinals because they've proven their worth, they've proven their skill, and they get to take a nice, long, deserved break. But they got to hold on to that, and Goji needs to hold on to that here. If Goji does not do well enough, if you look over in some of the more recent YouTube videos, we already know that K gets in first place, right? Beat Cap on week 7, found the Feather Printer when Cap didn't, among other things that he did. And because of that, K is currently standing, I believe, at 30 points. Goji's at 26. So Goji needs to get in first place to get 5 points if you end up getting it first overall. So Goji needs to get in first in order to maintain and hold on to that second seed. Will he be able to do it? We'll see. The competition, right, looks like a bit of a gap as the next highest skill position or rank is DeKlowski in the 9th seed. As DeKlowski opens up a Void Cradle, and I believe that's going to be a pluripotent larva, the one that also Big D, the 11th seed, is found. But Big D and DeKlowski, they're kind of competing for a chance to be able to get the 8th seed. It is technically doable for both of them to obtain it, to be able to pull that off. We'll see if they can do it. I think they need at least 2nd place for that, for at least a chance. Right? So if one of them, I mean, if you get in first place, well then you're pretty much guaranteed to, at this point, get the 8th seed, get the bye week, and chill. Right? It's a good time. And speaking of not so good times, though, as Big D is going through the Glacial Stone Golem Horde of Many. Oh god, this is not going to be fun. Stone Golem Hordes of Many, by the way, I don't think they can even happen pre-DLC and all the cards that they did. The developers actually made it so this couldn't happen. They got complaints, they're like, okay, we'll get rid of this. This is kind of unfair, this is kind of unfun. And they got rid of it from the game, and then the DLC came out and they had to like redo all the director spawning stuff, like what spawns where and what can and can't spawn. And they just completely removed that change that they did. They reverted it back. Whether intentional or not, I don't know, but you gotta deal with it now, and this is probably the most scary Horde of Many, as DeKlowski takes a death. Thankfully had the pluripotent larva, but won't have that down the line to be able to convert stuff. We'll see what that does, but Glacial Stone Golem Horde of Many, you start a TP, you're at like 3 minutes in, it's almost always death. There's gonna be so much death. Especially if you're trying to stay inbounds in the TP. Usually what I have to do is I just run away, but then a bunch of enemies build up, and it's Siphoned Forest, so there's blind pests, and oh my god. It's terrifying. Killer Bunny's actually going to take a death there. Yeah, trying to get underneath the platform or ramp. Go ahead and observe this. Rex does have the smallest collider in the game, right? But not that small. Just because he's underground when he's running in his animation doesn't mean you can actually go through stuff. Although that would be really cool if you could. Right, has that one death. I don't believe is going to take any more, but let's actually focus on Killer Bunny here for a second. The number 23 seed, right? So we were talking about what it means to be in the top 8. We've talked about what it means to be in the top 2, but the next step down from the top 8 is the top 18, right? That's kind of the middle ground. If you're there, you just have to do all the rounds, taken as it is. Killer Bunny is really far away from 18th, but it's okay because there's still another option for Killer Bunny, and that is to be able to make the wildcard round. The wildcard round is 19 through 22. The 4 seeds, they just go up against each other, and then I believe the top 2 from them get to move on. So there's still a chance for Killer Bunny to be able to qualify. Killer Bunny, I believe, needs to at least get in 3rd place to have any chance of that happening, though. We'll see if he can do it. Right, we've seen Killer Bunny in the past almost beat Zinc in a race because Zinc had to leave after the first loadout. And it managed to get down to a tie-breaking round where Killer Bunny died a few times, wasn't happy with the run. It was like 1 a.m., school was in the next morning or something, and just decided, you know what, I'd rather concede, I'd rather let Zinc take the win. And that's why Killer Bunny's where he's at now. Also ended up missing week 5. Was it week 5 or 6? I think it was week 5. Right. So, kind of a few self-inflicted wounds to his skill, but it's still there, right? I don't feel like Killer Bunny's a little bit better than a 23rd position. Killer Bunny dies once or twice, will on accident will eventually just go full tilt mode and then just start inting to try to win before anyone else does, and then hope that other people just don't qualify. Which is an interesting strategy. We saw that happen in the last highlight. I believe it's the one with the fire band printer and the thumbnail. You take a look at that if you'd want to, but what ended up happening there is Killer Bunny took like 53 deaths, did finish before 1st place finished, but at a cost, right? Everyone else ended up finishing as well. There was no points awarded as a result, right? A little bit of an exploit within the system of how scoring works. Right. And it's a strategy that can never get you in 1st place. But can do something. I don't think we'll see any of that happening today, though, with the skill being close enough for one another. Like, right, we have Big D, we have DeKlowski, we have Goji, all 3 really good racers. Trying to finish real time before anyone else and relying on the concede mercy rule isn't going to get you anywhere if everyone finishes 40 minutes within. Right, so we'll see what happens here. We'll see if that kicks in. But otherwise, right, if things are going well for Killer Bunny, right, if it's a good loadout, Killer Bunny does know how to go fast, right, so we'll see some of that happening. Could be the dark horse for this race. So that's where everyone is, that's where everyone stands. It only took me 8 minutes to get through with that, but we have a pretty interesting race on our hands. We see a watch picked up on DeKlowski. A watch that I believe Killer Bunny also has. Killer Bunny has a lot of items. I believe this is going to be a fire band. There it is, down in the lake. Remember that. And that's going to be huge, right? But you got to also remember, Killer Bunny didn't lose the larva, right, before dying. So if Killer Bunny dies, he's going to be stuck with Void Band. It's going to be stuck with Void Crit, right? If DeKlowski, right, having lost that, if DeKlowski finds Crit, can pick up Crit, doesn't have to worry about potentially losing it, might actually die here, right? DeKlowski did end up doing a Mount Try and figured, oh, I've got Sommering, I can just do a Mount Try and everything will be fine. It's not looking fine at all, though, and there goes a watch. Maybe death number 2 for DeKlowski, but DeKlowski just holding on for dear life, using the M1 to heal, out-healing the damage. Threw down the roots to get a little bit more health, is at like 80 curse, but it's looking like it's going to be fine. And it is. Yikes. That was kind of terrifying. Yeah, there goes the Sommering for DeKlowski. Maybe trying to ready it up. Maybe trying to save it for the other one. Yeah, there we go. And gets the Saw Tech in as well. Boom. And it's a double Leeching Seed. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Double Leeching Seed on Rex. Not on like Commando, not on someone who actually needs healing, not multi with nail guns, nope. Which at least in those scenarios, right, you're getting like 4 or 5 health per second if you're in combat and have decent attack speed. Which can kind of substitute for like a slug. It's not an ideal substitute, but it's something. Not if you're Rex though. The leeching seeds make up for like, I think DeKlowski's getting 8 or so health, 9 or so health every single third hit of the M1. And it's only going to become more as the damage builds up throughout the run. So it's like an extra 4 or 5% healing on top of all the healing that DeKlowski already has. Killer Bunny does not do the Mount Shrine. Easily gets the 1 leeching seed. We know Big D already did the boss as well. Is just trying to loot around. Is really close to that fire band. Is this the fire band? No, it's a war banner. Doesn't go through the rest of the lake. It's going to be without the fire band. Is that for better or for worse, though? We'll see. As again, Pluripotent Larva means that on death, which, I mean, it is Rex and Loadout Race. I think Rex is one of the most commonly, or dies the most out of any other survivor, maybe, with only Captain or NG being ahead. Maybe. Rex, it just is really rough to play. You make one wrong move with your shift, and you end up throwing yourself into 50 projectiles. You're constantly losing health with the abilities you use, although this is the Rex that only has the Tangling Growth, so maybe not as much. Right? Let's take a note of some of the printers we've seen throughout these stages, as Big D walks into stage 3 and immediately sees an ignition tank printer and loses the quail that he once had. DeKlowski doesn't even look up. Oh, does look up. There's a focus crystal printer and a ignition tank printer. Will DeKlowski go for ignition tank? Maybe. Maybe he will. No, it's just going to walk away. And I think that's the right call. You don't want to lose quail when it's one of your only speed items. But speaking of speed items, it actually wasn't, because there is a hoof printer that Killer Bunny's right next to right now. And also sees the Void Cradle here on stage 2. It was Void Crit. Don't want that. But there's Plasma Shrimp. There's Plasma Shrimp, and Klowski gets Plasma Shrimp. There's a Void Cradle right out of spawn outside the cave. You just run down it in the same path that Big D is taking as well. Big D probably going to find it as well. There's the cradle actually right there. And is going to go for it. There you go. Gets Plasma Shrimp as well. Doesn't want anything getting infected. Don't want anything infested. It's chilling. Right, so that's one thing that I guess at least Klowski doesn't have to worry about missing out on if he dies, right? There's not going to be any ATGs that'll turn into the Plasma Shrimp. Plasma Shrimp really good on Rex if you don't have self-damage abilities, because of the 100% chance for it to proc, right, off of your 0.5 proc coefficient ability. It's not like ATG where you're only getting it 5% of the time from your M1, as opposed to 10%. Right. Killer Bunny found a recycler on stage 2. Wait, hold up. I forgot about this. There's a recycler on stage 2. Can I go? Yeah, I can go back. This isn't live. Killer Bunny, take a look. It's chilling. Opens a cradle. That's a recycler. That's an option that no one else even found. But the question is, on a survivor like Rex, is that something you even want to pick up? I almost feel like yes with that larva. Right, you reroll a green, it turns to ukulele, boom. That's polyloot. You reroll an ATG, or into an ATG, boom. Plasma Shrimp. Not that, I mean, we all know that Plasma Shrimp eventually pops up on stage 3 anyways, but, I mean, that could be a really good equipment. And Sommering, I mean, it's nice, it's neat. It's cool. But, I feel like also with that recycler, being able to get like a pillar skip down the line if the damage starts getting really good. There's a lot of nice things with a recycler. You just get 10, 15, 20 recycles in a run. Right, you don't even have to wait for the recycles either. You just kind of take them as you go. But Killer Bunny opts not to go for that. Just gonna go for the raw damage. Big D, by the way, dealing with the Magma Worm. Shoots a capacitor shot at, was it a Bison? I don't know. Might be the first one to kill it. If not, it's going to be DeKlowski who will kill first. Right, we look at the left side of the screen, we see two people, two racers with royal capacitors. And we got two on the right. They both have Somerang. So we kind of have Somerang versus Capacitor. And Capacitor Gang is already winning. Capacitor Gang, I mean, they all missed the Fire Band. Which is kind of funny because everyone who did find the Fire Band on stage 2. Right, look at this. Look at this. The racers on the right. DeKlowski and Big D, they both have Fire Band. Right? There's my cursor. Fireband right here. Fireband right here. The racers on the right, meanwhile. You see any Fireband? Nope. Nope. Nothing. Nothing. Which means a lot less value for that capacitor until they can find another band. And Killer Bunny found a teddy bear. Tougher Times, is that the first person to find one? Yes. If Killer Bunny does die, we'll get safer spaces. And that's a pillar skip. That's going to be huge. That's massive. Hopefully the other racers find that Tougher Times. Tougher Times immediately becomes just this Giga God item. The second you find a pluripotent larva. That also means, now that we know there's a Tougher Times available for the racers, DeKlowski without the larva, right? DeKlowski, who used his larva on stage 1 accidentally against the golems, will be without it. Which is sad and unfortunate. But it is what it is, and while we're still talking about that, there's a energy drink printer right on TP. And, I mean, for most of the racers, right, DeKlowski has 3 hooves already. Goji has 4 hooves in a mocha. Killer Bunny has 1 hoof, 1 mocha. Big D also just has a hoof and a mocha. Right, so if you're Big D or if you're Killer Bunny, you might want to consider, for just a moment, Killer Bunny actually is just going to break a watch there. Oh, geez. One shot from death. Just use your M1 if you get the chance. Maybe Quail Jump. Maybe just throw down your roots. You only lose like 10 health if you do. Just press M5. So use your special. You'll heal up super fast. Nope, opting to use Leeching Seed instead. Okay. Probably going to die. Yep, there's the death. But maybe that's what Killer Bunny wanted. Right, Killer Bunny doesn't have a royal capacitor. Right, has the Somerang instead. So doesn't have to worry about the loss of that. Right, has the safer spaces. Maybe might be able to, or Singularity Band. Right, able to pull in enemies more for the Somerang or some other stuff. And then also the safer spaces. Right, ended up not dying at the second time during that TP event, so that's good. Big D is actually scrapping up, finds a energy drink right next to the scrapper. That's going to be good. Good for the print. Good for getting some movement speed. But only gets 1 white scrap. Opts to keep War Banner. And Firework. And doesn't even want the movement speed. Okay, it's just going to leave. A hoof and a drink and a mocha. 1 of each. I guess there's a red whip as well. But interesting. DeKlowski, meanwhile. Oh, geez. DeKlowski found a gasoline. And yeah, it's a gasoline that everyone found on stage 4. There is an ignition tank printer. DeKlowski took 2 of them. Found Wungus, which, I mean, Big D also got. Yeah, and Goji actually going for 1 energy drink. I don't hate that. I don't hate that. Movement speed is really vital. It's really important to have as Rex. As Goji also goes in for a second crit glass. Has 2 lens makers now. If Goji dies, that's going to be 2 void crit. Goji did get the Tougher Time, though. Is there anyone that missed the tougher times? Big D. If Big D dies, we'll not have tougher time or safer spaces. DeKlowski obviously already died. Didn't get this tougher times either. DeKlowski quickly trying to get a worship unit to spawn in. He's probably thinking about the roots technique. Same with Big D for that matter. Everyone's on stage 4. Everyone pretty much entered the stage all at the same time. Or within like a minute, minute and a half of each other. Right, a really competitive race all across the board. Everyone's doing a good job, especially on Rex. Especially after a Glacial Horde of Many golem. And there's another Leeching Seed. Nice. I feel like every item just amounts to Leeching Seed on this stage. You never find anything nice. Probably from all the healing chests, large healing chests that spawn here. Maybe that's why I'm thinking that. Yeah, there was a large healing chest on DeKlowski's screen there. DeKlowski's continuing to go for eggs, trying to break everything he can, trying to summon the worship unit. There's a technique that you could do as Rex, where if you get to the center pillar and you pull out a roots off the Tangling Growth, it will immediately kill the worship unit. It will get a red item for free. I think this is also Plasma Shrimp. No, yes. Yeah, DeKlowski gets Plasma Shrimp. Goji broke a watch? Wait, what's going on with Goji? Let's go back. Hold up. Goji chilling, having the time of their life. Having the time of their life. And there's 5 vultures. Is it just going to be... Oh no. Gets needle ticked by a larva. And goes down to 40 health. Loses the watch. Does not die though. If Goji ends up dying, it's going to be a loss of crit. It's going to be a loss of... I think that's it. And then gains safer spaces. But still a slowdown nonetheless, with the loss of a watch is minus 20% damage overall for the run. And the worship unit is killed on DeKlowski's screen. If we weren't thinking about pillar skips yet, right off of safer spaces, DeKlowski does have a solution. DeKlowski ended up getting Hardlight Afterburner. Let's actually go ahead and take a look at that again. As we see here, DeKlowski summons in the worship unit. It's like, okay, here we go. I've got a worship unit. I'm trying to draw aggro. Gets the root down in the center. And dead. Boom. Just like that. The second it touches the root, it just gets slammed up against the wall. And that's +1 Hardlight Afterburner for DeKlowski. Hopefully the other racers go for that, but as of now, DeKlowski has an advantage that they don't have with extra movement. Right, also has 2 energy drinks, has 3 goat hooves, has a pillar skip. And the others with the safer spaces, I mean, DeKlowski's probably thinking about host skipping, right? They have the ability to host skip. He can't do it, but now he has his own skip solution. Also has 4 focus crystals. That's a lot of up-close damage. Okay. Also opting to go for the Void Seed before activating TP. Killer Bunny doing so as well. There's a lot of larva. Has to go into the Void Seed. Oh, the TP's in the Void Seed. That's right. And it's Magma Worm. Magma Worm that Big D's trying to kill. Eventually does get it killed. We're soon going to find out what the boss item is. Killer Bunny trying to finish off this Void larva. Does not get the Magma Worm infested, thankfully. It's doing a ton of damage. Is that off of Ignition? What is that damage coming in? Oh, probably just Razor Wire, I think. Yeah. Catches on fire, gets the Razor Wire. That does a ton of damage. Maybe it was also off the 4 backup mags. That'd probably do it. Big D still at 0% on TP at 146 curse, has a lot of enemies on the screen. Again, it's not much movement speed. Does not have the Afterburner yet. Is the item... Are you kidding me? The boss item on this TP is, you guessed it, Leeching Seed. Not Molten Perforator, which would have been perfect given the Ignition Tank printer. Man, DeKlowski would be in a huge position with if that was the case. Right, Goji, who ends up only having, that's right, 0 Ignition Tanks. Right. Goji, the favorite to win the race. just based off of skill alone. Wouldn't be so much the case if that was true, but it's Leeching Seed. So Goji's strat continues to prevail. Goji get 176 curse though, 0% on the TP, has Elders, has Larva, right? Doesn't have the place under control yet. You know who probably has the place under the most control? Would be Killer Bunny. Doesn't have the watch or anything, but actually managed to die without losing any crit, right? Did not end up with Void crit. That's kind of cool. Killer Bunny's overall damage, though, and I kind of fear for this during the Mythics fight, Killer Bunny's damage is back at max. And not much else, right? Doesn't have any watches, has the 1 crit, has 1 AP round, has 1 bleed dagger. Well, now's that 2 needle tick, which is kind of cool. You can get a little bit of synergy there with the Seed Barrage, or whatever the ability's called. Directive Drill, one of those two. They like flipped the names in an ancient update long time ago. And ever since then, I don't even know which one's which. Goji about to be really excited when they find out that they get a second Leeching Seed. And yeah, there it is. As for DeKlowski, at 261 curse, hopefully no one dies like after TP. Look how much curse everyone has. Bigdy with 300, no, it's a 255 curse, yeah. Hasn't even gotten the Void Cradles yet, dealing with some of these larvae. There's a Glacial one inside TP. It's only at 40% charged. It's a long time to go, and Goji actually died a moment ago. Wait, what? When did this happen? I missed this. I missed this and I didn't even go over it? Nope, we're going over this. This is important. So here's Goji. A lot of larvae, a lot of jellies. Takes the vent, and they do too. And they move a little bit faster than you in the vent, believe it or not. Yikes. So it ends up taking the death, and with that comes a loss of a watch, a loss of normal crit. Is now stuck with Void crit, but does have safer spaces. So probably, I mean, there could be like a band printer or something if there was. So for the sake of the Royal Capacitor build, not the end of the world. Right, things could be worse. Not even sure if Goji meant to go through that vent. I'm gonna be completely honest. Ends up killing the boss here. Boom. Gets the Leeching Seed. DeKlowski, meanwhile, getting the needle tick, getting the what was the other void item? I think there was just the one void cradle. It didn't die. Both racers up on the top of the screen. Look how low they are in curse. Bigdy can afford to die, but not DeKlowski. Right. Otherwise, that's +5 territory, which you might be able to get away with one. Right, Killer Bunny had the +5 on stage 1. So, might be able to pull off something with a death and still get in third for a loadout, but unless more deaths kick in, which I think they may or may not, I honestly forget the results of this race. Definitely don't want that to happen. And I feel like we see so many of these deaths where racers are just finally done with the TP. They fully cleared everything. Everything's all fine. I don't know how Bigdy's going to get through this at 300 curse, only 50% cheap TP charge. Dealing with these larvae that move in their isometric BS patterns that make you want to vomit. Ugh. But while Bigdy and Goji are finishing off charging their TP, over on the right side of the screen we see DeKlowski and Killer Bunny on stage 5, taking different routes, it seems, as DeKlowski just wants to immediately activate TP. I completely disagree with this idea, right? You don't have any... Right, you have really good damage there with the double AP round and whatnot, but there's so many pre-spawns that are going to make their way over. Maybe DeKlowski was thinking he could finish off all the the bosses before the pre-spawns get over, as a Void Bell is approaching DeKlowski. DeKlowski taking a lot of hits here, trying to have to heal up. One shot from that bell and it's death. And that thing is swinging. Oh, there's a parent as well. If the parent punches you, you're dead. Needs to finish off, gets slowed. Will the slow mean death? Gets the boss killed. We'll see what happens. We'll look back over at the others, but picking up the Rose Buckler. It's just taking so many shots, constantly almost dead. Breaks an elixir, but not a watch. There was no watch to really break. Now you've got this huge horde of enemies, and you gotta keep just staying inside the TP and charging that. Goji got a resonance disc. Where was that from? Hold up. Large chest on the cliffside. Okay. Now it's over by spawn. Gets a watch as well. So even after that death, even after losing that one watch, up back to 20% of the damage that they once had. Sorry. And oh, there's another watch. Double watch there. That's going to be a huge buff for him. Huge buff. And with just really little crowd control, right? Goji, they didn't even get a single ignition tank. Right? No ignition tanks. So that one gasoline isn't doing a whole lot. DeKlowski, meanwhile, double ignition. I believe. Oh, wait, no, that's Killer Bunny. Killer Bunny has the... Oh, Killer Bunny has none. Yeah, it's DeKlowski. DeKlowski double ignition. Did not die during that TP event. But might. Down to 180 health. Oh, down to 60. Oh, jeez. And there's a death. There it is. It happened. Let's take a look at that one more time. We'll slow it down. DeKlowski's just not looking behind. What's behind? There's 3 alpha constructs. There's 3 alpha constructs right behind you. You have your back turned. Right when you see those, they don't just kind of stand still and do nothing. They shoot. So DeKlowski needs to find a way to get out of the spot, get out of this bad position, and maybe just try to kill them instead. But instead, it's so focused on just trying to clear out the TP zone. There's one that misses. The second one hits, though. And that's death. -5 minutes, right? Already lost the larva. So didn't have that as a crutch this time around. We'll see what happens to Killer Bunny. Though, as let me actually go back ahead. Killer Bunny losing an elixir. Only as a TP boss, half dead. Right, the Samurai users are getting a little bit more mileage off their equipment right now, even with the fire bands or void band for that matter, and that's going to be a death. Death for Killer Bunny. Let's go ahead and just take a look at this. I think it's important to highlight the first couple deaths, not only for you as or for the racers to look back. I know the racers usually watch these. They like to see the content. They like to see what's going on, the insight, but also for you, for chat, right? And just take a look. Take notice. So what is Killer Bunny doing? Killer Bunny is running, okay, into a cave, gets the slowed, and loses a watch, is down to 15 health. Isn't giving up. You gotta know when to run back, you gotta know when to hide, right? There's a bunch of things when you're at like such low amounts of health. And you know, let me go back just one more time here. Right. Getting hit, you're getting hit, you're getting hit. You don't want to get hit. Right there gets the slow. Right. Ended up getting the Souls Control Unit, didn't finish it off. Right. Had the time, had the chance to finish off that one that was almost dead already. Didn't do it. Ends up taking a death. Immediately kills the other two, though. Right. But just a little bit too late for that. And oh my god, what just happened? Okay, we were just talking about this earlier. But Big D, going for the worship unit skip, right? Very good. Misses, dead. But what's interesting is Big D had so much to be able to do, right? There's a larva there. Uh-oh. You could shift, you could shift, you could shift. You could do everything, but all that Big D's trying to do is just get the M1 to land. And that's not going to slow it down. You have to fully kill it. You have to get like 10 shots on it. You had 130 health. Doesn't do that though. They do like 230 damage. That's death. And that's minus larva and plus void crit. So that's a net loss for Big D. Now stuck with the void crit. Crit, a really good damage option for at Rex, given that it has no reliance on proc coefficient. Goji also going for the red item now. Goji with the double watch. Really taking a long time. Right. Playing this a lot slower than normally what we might see. And usually what ends up happening with Goji is in a first loadout or so, usually opts to play this a little bit slower, right? But with competition like this, with DeKlowski done with the TP now, may end up backfiring. We might end up seeing Goji rushing a lot harder in the second loadout. But whatever the case might be, DeKlowski ends up getting an armor piercing round from a whatever it's called, terminal. Shipping a quest form terminal? That's what they are. And Big D and Goji are now going to be on stage 4. Does anyone still have the larva? No, everyone has died at least once. Now, unfortunately for Killer Bunny, ended up taking 3 deaths total here now. Ended up taking the 1 on stage 1, and I believe 2 during the TP fight. On stage 3. Had the larva death, I believe that was also at the end of stage 3 or early stage 4. My memory is bad. DeKlowski's actually going to go for a Gorag's Opus. Opens up a couple of Void Cradles. I want to get that Void crit. DeKlowski the only one, I believe, with normal crit. It's an encrusted key. That could be good. That could be good for DeKlowski. DeKlowski here, who needs at least to get in second place in this loadout race in order to get the 8th, have a chance of getting the 8th seed. Finds a feather. That's an instant take, an instant grab. The same feather that Goji just found prior to the TP. I think that's going to be huge for Goji, who needs to not die, right? If Goji dies, it's going to be minus 40% damage from those watches. So we see the TP activate for both Goji and for Big D. Right, so while Killer Bunny and DeKlowski were kind of in the lead in real time, having their own little fight, we now get to see this with Big D and Goji. Keep in mind that Killer Bunny does have the 3 deaths. DeKlowski has the 1 death, but both are going onto the moon essentially at the same time. Or a whole sequence ahead. DeKlowski, though, needs to finish with, I believe, yeah, within 5 minutes, assuming that neither of those racers on the left die. See the boss item. What was the boss item for this TP anyway? I think it was a Rose Buckler? Yeah. There you go. But something we noticed between these 2 racers, and we'll just highlight them as DeKlowski and Killer Bunny are going up on the moon, is Big D doesn't have the feather and Goji does. And you can kind of tell how much of a difference that makes, right? Big D, in order to stay safe, has to stand super far away from everyone else. Oh, wait, what? I forgot this happened. Okay, we gotta go back. So DeKlowski's like, okay, I can make it to the arena from here, right? And while, yes, you can make it height-wise, you gotta think about your movement-wise. And I believe DeKlowski already used the feather. He's gonna have to spam the shift right now. Shift. Nope. Doesn't even try. What happened? Hold up. Did DeKlowski's, keyboard die? Okay. It's not like Railgunner, right? If you're DeKlowski, you're falling, right? This is one of those YouTube videos of you just fell out of a plane without your parachute. What do? You look for snow or something and try to land in a field, but there's literally nothing you can do and you're just dead anyway. This is clickbait. Well, here's some clickbait for you, or not clickbait. If you have this, you have 2 charges of it, right before you land, you just spam it. You just want to spam it. Boom, boom, boom. Try to use as much as you can. DeKlowski didn't even try. Just took the death. And that's a throw. 100% throw. Farm fresh. I don't even think it was sprinting that time. Wouldn't it be sprinting when you use your shifts to go up? Now 10 minutes behind gives Killer Bunny a chance to catch up. DeKlowski, who beat Goji in week 6. Trying to do it again. But now has to beat Goji not only by 5 minutes, but by 10. Right? And Goji has the feather. Goji has the safer spaces. Did not lose the watches yet anyway. Is only 25% on the TP. Right. Goji, who has the resonance disc. That's another big thing. Goji has that resonance disc. Just able to kill like a couple mushrooms, a couple wisps, and then boom. Big enemy dies. Or a random enemy. Sometimes big, sometimes not. Goji actually taking a lot of damage here. And while that's going on, Killer Bunny is over at the soups. What soup do we see from Killer Bunny? Well, let's go back. Let's focus on it. Here we go. We see... Oh, not even going to look at it. Okay. Well, if you're not going to look at the soup, then I don't get to narrate on it. You lose narration time. Get out of here, Killer Bunny. Just tries to go for the host skip. Okay. Just looking down at the trunk. Sprint. Shift. Use your shift. You want to use the shift like as soon as you go up. Or start going up. In order to maximize your lift. Goes for it again. Sprints. There we go. Okay, Killer Bunny is going to be able to get up to the Mithrix Arena. Is only 2 deaths behind. There's only 1 death behind DeKlowski. As let's take a look at that. DeKlowski, who did get the feather. Right, just absolutely collapsing. During this fight here. Let's have a gander at this here. Just, oh, yeah. Let's look at that one more time. Mithrix's hammer. It has a little bit of a shockwave during phase 1. A lot of times people can play it really safe. You can just kind of not care. It is only 1 hitbox. It's not a multiple hit, so you don't need to like be super concerned about it if you have safer spaces. Mithrix can literally not hurt you in 1 attack with the hammer during phase 1 if you have spaces. If it's phase 3, then you get hit by the hammer, then you get hit by all the shockwaves, and you die anyway. But take a look at this. Right, jumps over. It's just walking up to him, feathers up, and has to reposition. Walks just in range. And while Rex doesn't have a large collider, has a large hitbox. It takes a death. Rex is really weird. It's like he has one of the smallest colliders, can like sneak through or by any obstacle, but then something shoots and it's like, oh, I have this like 5-meter hitbox. Damn it. So that's again good for Killer Bunny, right? Who's trying to get in 3rd place. Getting a point here in the first round would be a really good opener for having any chance of making it into the tournament. Right, just needs DeKlowski to mess up once more and has to not die during the Mithrix fight. And while this Mithrix fight's going on, let's look back over on the left side of the screen. Let's take a gander at bigdy and at Goji real quick. What do we see it going on over there? On Team Capacitor. Well, Team Capacitor is still finishing off the Void Seed. Capacitor really hasn't given much this run. There's been no crowbars. There's been no bans, aside from the bans that everyone that didn't go for crowbars ended up getting. Right? So, If only they looted a little bit more, if only they looked in the water, I think we would see Goji, we would see Big D already on the moon. Big D actually might take some damage. Nope, shifts before landing. And uh-oh. 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 This is exactly what Killer Bunny needed to happen. Take a look at DeKlowski. DeKlowski, who beat Goji in Week 6 on Rex. Now experiencing this. Getting hit by a lot of wisps. Does have a Rose Buckler. But Rose Buckler isn't going to do much against an orb that lands on DeKlowski. DeKlowski now at 4 deaths at 56 minutes in. I mean, as long as Big D and Goji don't die at all, they are more than able, more than capable of getting in first place. Or of second. Right? It's going to be between the two of them. And as for DeKlowski and Killer Bunny, they really need them to throw, and they also need to not die anymore. If they die a few more times, could end up in a potential DNF, assuming Big D or Goji finishes first real time. And Goji's off to the moon. The third one there. Big D, with just a little bit more time in the TP, will probably end up looting a little bit afterwards. DeKlowski, beginning phase 3, probably tilted at this point with all the deaths. Dealing with Rex. Killer Bunny, surprisingly not as tilted as normal. Still holding on, has a feather, has the Plasma Shrimp, but only one Plasma Shrimp. Didn't end up getting one of the Void Cradles. Whether it was a stage 3 one or a stage 4. Right, that's a little bit of a disadvantage for Killer Bunny. Killer Bunny also with only 1 Focus Crystal. DeKlowski has 3. Killer Bunny, who only has 2 AP rounds. I believe DeKlowski has 3. I can't quite tell. DeKlowski getting hit by the ads. Might take death number 5 here as Pizza begins. Here we go. Used a weird technique to like shift Mithrix into the roots once he was standing still at the start of Pizza. That was kind of weird. Oh, there's uh-oh. Take a look at Goji. Remember the encrusted key that no one else went for? Goji went for it. And Goji almost opted to take something else and then saw the polyloot. It's like, oh, there it is. And now they're chilling. And you know who's not chilling? Killer Bunny. I'll show you why. On phase 2, we remember that DeKlowski ended up dying to an orb, and well, not quite the case this time, but still the Wisps. The Wisps now at 2 kills in this race here. And Killer Bunny is back in trouble, and that's honestly a really good thing if you're DeKlowski, and you're trying to at least get 1 point to be able to have a comeback in the second loadout. And that's another death for Bunny, now at 6 deaths. Again, just getting decimated by phase 2. Not taking cover, right? If you're Killer Bunny, you gotta take phase 2 seriously. You need to hide, right? Killer Bunny's just running in circles at this point. Borderline inting. Guess he uses the Razor Wire and doesn't die from that in a really risky play, but could die right here, does die again, right? And Killer Bunny fully knows, right, that what he's doing is throwing. You gotta know when to run. And if you just stay in the fight and just say, I don't know what else to do, this is the only thing I could do, I hate the ads, right? The ads are tough, I don't know how to handle them. Just walk far away. Rex's damage, believe it or not, when you only have 1 Focus Crystal, Rex's DPS is the exact same if you're 1 foot away from your enemy or 1 mile away from the enemy. Well, actually, eventually the M2 runs out of range and there's some other things there. But yeah, Killer Bunny now trying to just win the game before Goji does at 7 deaths. Right, we'll only have 5 minutes to finish after Goji. Might be able to pull it off if he doesn't die anymore, but we'll see. And while that's happening, DeKlowski manages to get a phase 4 skip. Let me go ahead and explain what happened there. That's a huge play. Right after everything that happened after the the pillar skipping incident after the other death during phase 1, right? A lot of preventable deaths on DeKlowski this run, and this one no different. Or not this one, this is actually a good thing. If you have your M2, right, this right here, this is a phase 4 skip. Very similar to Arrow Rain, just place it in the center of the arena, and when Mithrix dies, if one of those projectiles is on the ground, like if there's a little hitbox for the projectile in range of where Mithrix teleports to at the start of phase 4, you'll skip phase 4. Observe. Boom, boom, boom. Gets all the M2s down, and boom. Hitbox was there, interrupted Mithrix gaining invincibility, and completely skips that. As DeKlowski types in terrible. Really not satisfied with the performance that he had here today. He's going to run over to the ship now. What appears to be a little bit over sub 60. Actually almost takes another death having lost the feather. Right, really needs to work on Rex's movement. And while we're talking about that... Oh, Big D took a death. I think it's a little bit too late at this point. It happened a while ago, so I can't really highlight it. But has one death now. I'm sorry, Big D. I do apologize. I'll try to make it up to you in the future. But Big D's still on stage 5. Right? Ends up taking the other Void crit because, well, he already has the one Void crit because he died. Big D did not get safer spaces. Right? Because he did not have a teddy bear. He did not have tougher times when he ended up dying the second time. Killer Bunny taking death number 8 now has no buffer after Goji finishes charging the ship, and with Goji having so much more damage, though Goji taking some hits from this Wisp, it's going to be fine. Void crits the orb. LOL. And is now on phase 3. Oh, there was a second feather. Yeah, Big D really just not comfortable with this run at all. Bull looting stage 5. Finds a death mark. I don't know if you can proc death mark. That was for my question mark. Sees another equipment. It's a radar scanner. And 6101 is the time for DeKlowski. We'll get that up there now. 6101. Thankfully not any higher than that, as DeKlowski did end up taking another death. Or almost taking another death right out of the Mithrix gate. So time to first 6101. Time to completion there being at 101 minutes. Killer Bunny actually with so many deaths just being racked up. Another problem with his strategy of just inting to the finish line is if someone else just starts doing it but is better at just rushing to the finish without dying as much, then you get a concede. Which I think we might see with the rate of deaths that are happening on Killer Bunny's screen right now. We'll go ahead and pull up everyone else's, or take DeKlowski off there. Again, a really good run aside from the hiccups that happened. Looking for the right scene. That's not it. There we go. And Goji, actually, almost done with the Mithrix fight. As Killer Bunny takes another death. One death on Killer Bunny, and it's DNF. Big D having started the fight, though. Or not started the fight, but starting the moon. Does not have any bans. The only ban was on stage 2. That was it. And, oh wait. Goji got a fire band? I didn't even pay attention. That must have been from Soup. Wrong one. Timeout's called, though. There's a reason why this timeout's called. And we'll go ahead and highlight that real quick. Killer Bunny, again, 101 minutes is the time to concede. Right, 40 minutes after the current position of first place. And there it is. DeKlowski's already won. Killer Bunny is clearly more than just lost. Right, we want to try and prevent people from just dying a bunch and not having a fun time, so that's why we have this rule in place. Also speeds things up a lot when we've got 4 racers who are meeting up from all across the world trying to compete, right? We don't want to just watch someone do that for 30 minutes, so. GG, good attempt. Held on for a long time for Killer Bunny. But just couldn't pull it off. And then once he knew that things were looking kind of grim, right, tried to exploit the first place finish and try and hope some other people DNF. Clearly not going to happen today, though, as DeKlowski's already finished up. And with Goji finishing up as well. Goji at 44 minutes, going to have almost a sub 45. Actually will have a sub 45. It's going to be like a 44-20-ish, maybe close to a 44-30. Well done for Goji. Goji going to get, let's see, it's a 5-person race. We'll have until about the 55-minute mark, so Big D's going to have like a 6-minute fight. Right, Big D, who ended up missing the encrusted lockbox on the moon, right, is already over at Soup. The lockbox was over by Mass Pillars, I believe. And ends up getting a fire band. Maybe I was trying to see if there was any other good soups. It wasn't. There's a fire band with the capacitor. Actually ends up going for 2. And goes for a 3rd as well. Doesn't have much movement speed. Thankfully didn't lose any speed. Is sprinting before every single shift. Really good job by Big D for remembering to do that. Is waiting to get both. It's going to go up now. Has 2 feathers. Yeah. What you just saw from Big D, go back and replicate that if you're ever going to try a Hard Light Afterburner Wreck Skip. Sprint after every shift, and do it in bursts like that. Do it up close, and it doesn't matter how much movement speed you have at that point, because you'll be just fine. Gets Fire Band off. Really good damage. Again, only is going to have a limited amount of time. We'll get to see what that time is as soon as Goji is done looking at the Mithrix head evaporating alongside the rest of the planet. I'll take a sip now. But a huge find for Big D with the fire bands. Right, checking the soup can pay off sometimes. In this case, it did. Is rooting Mithrix at the base? I kind of like that idea a little bit more than waiting a little bit. It's able to get some more DPS in with the shift. Or with the M2, not the shift. 44-26 with 420 kills. Well done, Goji. We'll go ahead and update that time, as Goji is more than able to crush that 6101 by 15 minutes. Let me go ahead and see if I can find the text for that. Yes, I can. Time to first place is 49-26, and that's not actually, I'm just saying time to deny bonus points is 49-26, which is actually also not doable for Big D because of that one death, so we then go up to 26. So Big D has about 3 minutes to do this fight. I don't think for double bonus, time to deny double bonus. What does it say? Deny double. It's probably not going to be able to happen. I forget if it does or not. I mean, with 3 fire bands, do you have any raw damage? Yes, you do. You have a lot of AP rounds that you managed to keep. 3 fire bands. Plasma strips are really not doing too much as outside of the M1. You've got a Mocha and no other attack speed items. There is a watch, though. With what, like only a minute to go in the Mithrix fight? It's not going to happen. That's going to be a double bonus for Goji. Let me just go ahead and actually put that in right now. I forget if it does or not, but if Big D finds a way to do this in 1 minute, I'll congratulate him. I'll give him an actual trophy. I'll find a trophy smith. But yeah, with only 1 minute to finish the Mithrix fight and be on the ship, it's not looking good. What is looking good, though, and we'll actually just go ahead and put this underneath here, is time to complete, which is now updated to 8426. Do we see any racers, or see any scenario where that happens to Big D? Well, Big D needs to die like 4 times, I think. Right, we'll definitely be done within 10 minutes, maybe not done in 5. If phase 4 and everything ends up happening, I think this is going to be a pretty chill event here for Big D, right? Has a large gap. I guess a scenario we do see that happening is if Big D ends up tilting. I don't think we've ever seen in any of the other 12 loadouts that Big D's done so far that Big D just got full tilt mode. Right? I think it's had like one loadout where it just wasn't working out, was in a really bad position and just wanted to be done. Which, that can be a little bit different, right? A lot different from when you've got fire bands, when you've got movement speed, when you got a capacitor. And that's going to be phase 2 done. Yeah, with only 20 seconds to be able to deny ship, maybe 40 seconds total. It takes a whole minute to charge, and you got to go through the whole Mithrix thing. Not doable. We'll go ahead and just get rid of that there. Time to complete 8426. Oh, actually, we got something else important. Is DeKlowski's end time. Time to second place. 6101. Let's not forget about DeKlowski. DeKlowski, who's hoping, right, for something to happen. This is actually kind of close. Though there was only 1 death, and DeKlowski ended up taking 4 plus 5s, right? Finished a lot sooner than everyone else, right? Managed to finish 15 minutes behind Goji, but about 5 minutes ahead real time. Right, if not for the double death on stage 5, would have denied bonus points. Or double death on stage 6, my bad. Here we go. Mithrix is going to go to the center of the arena. Fire bands are ready. Actually, they're not, because it's just going to be used on a golem. But, you know, -1 golem during pizza's not bad. Oh, God, that was close. Oh. Big D cannot die, or will not get in second place. Yep. I forgot that happened. I actually thought that... Here, let me go ahead and get rid of Goji's screen here. Let's go ahead and watch that one more time. Right, here's the pizza. And boom, just didn't have enough movement speed. Maybe felt like he had a little bit of speed earlier. I forget if he lost any when he went through those band printers, but just with the less amount of speed. Maybe he could have jumped up and saved himself with the wax quail. Might have been able to save himself with just going the other direction. But pizza's hard. Pizza's hard to manage, to figure out. Right, I played the game for like 4,000 hours and I still die to it all the time. It's rough. Sometimes you quail into it, sometimes you quail out of it. Yeah, that was a good quail jump. Oh my god, almost took a death there. But now, past the 6101 mark, will not get in second place. Will actually end up getting in third or not completing at all. We're about to find out. 8426 is the time to finish. Can still afford to die like 3 more times and be safe. 4 times technically could probably handle the rate things are going, right, with the damage that we're seeing here. Probably only going to see about 1 or 2 more pizzas. Gets the grapple on Mithrix. And, ooh, this is perfect. Perfect. Use it, use it. Nope, doesn't want it. That was a perfect chance. With Mithrix being grappled by the roots. Mithrix will only dash if he's too close to you. If he's too close to you, he'll always do a dash after every move. If he's at like a medium range, he won't really do anything. And if he's at a large range, oh my god, that almost hit him. If he's at a long distance, then he will not do anything except shoot needles at you while sprinting. Big D didn't really get much of any damage off of that attack there. That pizza phase. Pizza round, and we'll have to do another. It's getting shot at by some ads, has been trying to clear them out the whole time. Oh, geez, was thinking about using the roots. Try to think about it a little bit too soon. That's going to be okay. Oh, or is it? Takes a hit, down to 30 health. Recovering, though, back up to 100, using that those leeching seeds to the most massive amount of value as possible, clearly. Uses the feather, gets Mithrix hit by the Neurotoxin. Neurotoxin does reduce his armor, but he missed those, I believe. Would have actually been enough, but down to 50 health. Oh my god, 80 health. Almost takes another death, and so many ads and so much going on. Doesn't get the phase 4 skip with the Fire Band, doesn't get the phase 4 skip with the Seed Barrage. Instead, has to go through phase 4 with another death. 68 minutes on the clock. Cannot afford to die 3 times. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Again, Mithrix just needs to be dead. Doesn't have to be the ship charge itself. And... oh... yeah, it's going to be fine. Here goes the lightning. And done. So well done to Big D. Well, guaranteed get in 3rd place. We'll at least have 1 point. We can go ahead and hand out those points now. Unless Big D concedes here, which I'm pretty sure I would have remembered. I don't think that happens, so we'll just go ahead and hand out the point now for Big D. As the lead is by a huge margin. Goji with double bonus points, standing at 5 points. We'll need to have something drastic happen here in the second loadout of this race. All right, as for Killer Bunny, needing to at least get in 3rd place to qualify is on life support. As we're going to see in the next loadout race, I believe the loadout will be, I can just go ahead and show it now. It's going to be Captain with double hack, if you're interested in that. Be sure to like and subscribe, subscribe, stay tuned. You can like the video if you want, I guess. Sorry. But yeah, as for the next loadout in this race, we're going to be seeing double hack Captain with orbital probes, not Diablo. Otherwise, we'd be going full speedrun strat. So that's going to be interesting. A lot of items that we're going to be seeing getting hacked, getting picked up. Who knows what will happen. Killer Bunny needing to at least get in 3rd place in this overall race. With the DNF, we'll need to beat every other racer by more than 1 point in order to have that tiebreaker nullified. Right, so we'll at least actually need to get in 2nd place in this next loadout to have any chance at all. Unless someone else DNFs. Right, and let me just get that time one last time for Big D. That's a 70-minute and 9-second run. 3 deaths for Rex. Hold on. It's like... no, okay. So yeah, Killer Bunny, again, needs to at least get in 2nd place next race, next loadout, or will be eliminated. DeKlowski is going to have to do a lot to try and take down Goji. We'll need to have a reverse sweep, right? If anyone wants to get 1st place, they have to get bonus points. Just straight up have to, unless Goji gets in dead last, and then DeKlowski gets in 1st, there's a tie break, but that's the only scenario. We'll see what happens there. But again, GG to everyone with that Rex loadout. Everyone played well. A lot of times when we see Rex, it's like 18 trillion deaths. And we didn't see that today until the very end for one racer. For everyone else, I mean, again, just clearly well done, especially with that stage 1. Let's go ahead and look at that one more time. It was like right here. Yeah, we all know what happened here. It was Glacial Stone, Golem, Horde of Many. Don't forget how this one started and how it ended. this was probably the most pivotal point, right? With the larvas, Goji was able to keep his on long enough to be able to maintain safer spaces, and was also able to eventually get encrusted key, was able to get polyloot from that. Got some fire bands from the TP, or from the soups. And took the win. Completely earned it. Well done. GG.